I was trying to bring home the victory. Yeah, that was fun.
Well, how has it been just without Jordan? I mean, how have you been able to kind of establish the groupings that you want here going into the game?
Yeah, it's been weird, just in the sense that you wish he was here for this last final game, but it hasn't been that difficult because of what we had to do when he was hurt before. So it's kind of been the same rotation in that way.
Is he doing any helping you out, or coaching up any of the guys, or pointing things out, or is he kind of staying back?
Well, a little bit. Well, he's got his own thing going health-wise, in terms of I don't know when he's scheduled for rehab and seeing a doctor because it's kind of still new. So he hasn't been out here as much yet.
Yeah. Okay.
How's Riker adjusted just being in that starting role now for a whole month?
I think he's adjusted. Like you said, it's been a month, so I think he's adjusted pretty good in terms of getting used to it and the rotations, and he's already real familiar with the offense. So I think he's adjusted pretty much completely.
Are there some things that maybe he does better that help your receivers out? I mean, is there anything that he really brings that, hey, we can do this a little bit better maybe than we did before, or anything when you kind of watch him and what he does? Or
not really, because in terms of just throwing the ball, at wideout, you just throw it to him, and it doesn't really matter who's that quarterback in terms of that. You just want to have a chance to catch it, and he does it. He's accurate, so that's good.
Anybody jumping out in practice and having good sets of practice here that maybe surprised you a little bit leading up to the game?
No surprise. Everybody's been working hard, pretty much status quo in that way.
Thank you.
No problem.
Keith, what's Jordan meant to all the receivers past while you've been here? Kind of how has he been a leader in the room for you guys?
Well, it starts with his work ethic and his attention to detail on a daily basis. He leads by example totally off the field, and then he takes that determination, that work ethic onto the field, and he gets results from it. So his leadership by example has been great, and he is also vocal. Not as much, in terms of the whole team, but in our room he's really vocal, and he helps those young guys out, and even the older guys.
Is it a little bittersweet that in his last game he can't quite play? I mean, when you learned that he was not going to be able to play in his final collegiate game, what kind of went through your head?
Well, if bittersweet has any positive to it, it's not bittersweet.
Right.
But it was a shame. I feel for him more than I do, necessarily the team, because it was his last game. And I know what he's meant even before I got here. I know what he's meant to Nebraska and to the university. So I felt for him, initially, first and foremost.
Same with Tommy too. I mean, both of them have, with the wide receivers, you also have the quarterback. Tommy's also been a big part. I don't know. Did you kind of have the same feeling about him missing as well? Does it feel a little weird that the last game, both of them out?
It does, especially when you see them walking around here and you just know that they're not going to be able to play. And so every time you see them, it kind of hits you a little bit, the fact that it's unfortunate, like I said, for them individually. Obviously for the team, you want your best players playing, but even more so for them because it's the last game.
Right.
Hey, looking ahead to next year, LeVan Olsen, you lost him too. I mean, your numbers are really pretty thin now going forward. How important is this recruiting class, even more so that you finish out with some of these key receiver targets?
It's really important. It's really important. So these last few weeks are going to be big in terms of trying to get who we want to get.
How many more can you take?
It's still maybe the same, because at one point it gets down to who is available, who the actual true prospect is, and the realistic chance of getting them. So it just depends. It's not an exact number just yet.
It just depends on a certain guy.
Yeah, it's a circumstance and a certain guy. Yeah.